Well, Alan, thank you for joining me. Basically, as you know, we've been profiling firm owners and leaders just all across the nation and what they're doing during this time to be proactive and lead through adversity. So I wanted to ask you, because I know you guys have been doing quite a bit. In fact, if nothing else, you mentioned to me earlier, you're busier than you've ever been, and you've been ramping up a lot of efforts. Could you speak to some of those?
Well, I was in California in early March on a trip and kind of saw what was coming. Got back and we talked about what we wanted to do, and we felt like, Georgia, we're here in Georgia. Just to preface, we're a personal injury firm. We've got 2 lawyers and 5 support staff, so we're a 7-person firm. We inventoried our technology. We're thinking about, okay, if we have to stay home like they're doing in California, what will we do? So we made sure we had all the equipment. We actually went out and bought everybody a bigger, big monitor to take home, and we had the technology in place. We never utilized it enough. I guess that's kind of the blessing of this, if there is one, that we've now, taken advantage of all the technology with our phone system and remote access. We put something in play, a plan for that. The other thing we looked at is we realized that if people aren't moving around, there's, in personal injury, there's not going to be a lot of new cases coming in, and everybody I know here in Georgia, nobody's phone's ringing. So we felt like if we weren't going to be able to continue marketing for cases like that, as far as for intakes, we should at least amplify our message and our brand awareness for us. So we, as you know, we tripled our social media budget for our advertising with Stack and what we do. We also, we're not focused on advertising for cases. We want to be a resource in our community for pandemic information. So a lot of our posts are about how to get the unemployment, and here's the websites and CDC links. Just want to be a resource and be a leader in our community to help folks. I mean, it's crazy for everybody, and people look to lawyers, they look to us for help. That's what we do in the personal injury arena. We're helping people, so we want to continue to help be a resource, regardless if it's about a case or just help them figure out what they need to do to get through this. So those are some of the early things we did.
So let me ask you what you mentioned, and I'm curious, like, why buy into that? So meaning that, why ramp up spend right now, like during this period of time, knowing full well that it was probably unlikely to drive direct cases, at least at the moment?
I mean, again, for personal injury, it's kind of a top of mind thing. I mean, we're not competing with the billboard guys and the million, $20 million budgets. That's not who we are. We're more personalized and specific. We take a smaller caseload. So it's more about just, we want people to remember us when the time comes. We're not necessarily going to be, they're not going to see us, out on an advertisement somewhere when they need us at that time. But if you take the time now to talk to somebody, maybe it's not about a car wreck, maybe it's about unemployment, or we all know enough to be dangerous in other areas of the law where we've handled a case somewhere down the line. Taking the time now to talk to people is going to pay a dividend, because that's one more person out there where you planted the seed. And they may not remember you, they may not need you, but they're going to remember you. And if somebody they know needs your help, they're going to say, hey, call this guy or call these guys. So and even though we're busy, we do have time. I mean, efficiency is kind of down a little bit, but we have time to talk, always have time to talk to people. And frankly, I kind of want to talk to people. I don't like being cooped up any more than anybody else.
So how big is the team now?
We have 7. Me and my partner and I are the attorneys. We have 5 support, 2 litigation paralegals, and some pre-lit paralegals and administrative assistant.
How have they responded during this time?
They've been great. We have a good team there. Everybody's pitched in. We all wear a lot of hats in our firm anyway, and we're talking on a regular basis. Excuse me, I got a little something in my eye here. There's some apprehension about working remotely. we let everybody, we're an essential business in Georgia. We're not fully staffed. We have skeleton crew till the mail comes for, a few hours of the day, a few of us there, and then everybody's basically working from home most of the time. So we talked to them and first we reassured them, hey, we're not cutting anybody. That's not what we want to do. We're okay. We took that fear of unknown, what's going to happen. We let them know that we're okay. We've got a plan. The other thing we talked about is, we didn't focus on when you work remotely, and I've done it a lot over the years, but you get some efficiencies in some ways and you get some inefficiencies. We're not focused on the number of hours they're working at home. We're focused on the work, on the quality and the product and the productivity. So as long as the work's getting done, we're good. And we made it clear to them, and they respond, is that, if they don't do their job, we don't get paid. So everybody's got to pitch in and do their job. If they, we're all in this together. So, my job as the attorney on the file is no less important than their job, and they understand and appreciate that. So they responded well.
Do you believe, just throughout this time, many firms that are, being proactive, that are investing in their team and their practice, that many of them are actually improving right now. They're going to come out better law firms. How do you believe that coming out of this, once we resume, we're out of quarantine, all this stuff, how do you believe the firm will have improved?
Well, personally, I always believe we can do better. We're always looking for new ways to improve our workflow, to make our cases better, to help our clients. So, the process is, it's another obstacle we've got to get over and move on. So we're going to try new things. We've been in this, this process of revamping our accounting system. That's going forward, even though I'm not had time to kind of stay on that. But, we want to keep investing in our people and giving them the tools or the skill sets to help them, educate them to keep going forward. Things are going to change. It's going to be different. We may be remote access for, I don't know, I'm thinking probably till June, at least to the end of May here in Georgia. But just having a plan and sticking to that just helps you kind of get through this.
What's been the biggest lesson you guys have learned just in the last, let's say, even 8 weeks?
For us, we realized we had all this technology lying around, and now we've actually used it, and it's helpful. I think that'll make us more efficient. We use Time Matters, a case management system. We've had it for about a year. Now we're kind of more, the more you use it, the more it helps you. So that's been something that we're realizing is just going to make us improve us a lot. We're looking also at the first elite little conference we did a few weeks ago. We weren't really thinking about, we need to expand the practice in other areas, but for us, I think the bubble's going to come in 9 or 10 months. We've got enough cases that we're working up to keep things moving along okay, but in 9 or 10 months that may not be the case until the people get out moving around again. So we are looking at maybe bringing somebody on to in a different area of law to kind of complement what we're doing and just kind of even things out. So we're exploring that. We're getting resumes from people, which is it's always nice to network with folks and talk to them even if you don't have positions open. So
then, Alan, final question from me, just as an overall, maybe more philosophical.
Still there, Mike?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, there we go. So just last question, probably more philosophical. Why take this proactive approach in the first place? So I'm meaning that there's many firm owners, as you know, across the country that have been very much focused around preservation of what they have, cutting back, scaling back their teams, resources, marketing, everything like that. And you guys have seemingly been doing the opposite, but just more so, why this view and belief when you're looking around and there's all this uncertainty?
Well, the only constant that I know in my life is change. And that's just how things are. You can't sit still. You've got to continue to find, there's always new cases. There's always new ways to do things. There's new precedents. There's new avenues for practicing. You have to just kind of be constantly evolving. If you're not, I mean, it's just, you sit back and you're left behind. I mean, it's not stuff personally that I like to do. I mean, I like to practice law. I like dealing with clients. I like working on cases, but I'm a businessman too, and we've got to kind of put that hat on. And right now, that's the important hat, is looking at your business, having this time, whether you're down, you don't have time, or rather you have time, you need to do some reflection on your practice. It's a good time to look and say, okay, what do I want my practice to be? Where do we want to go? And I think it's good too to talk to other attorneys. We're doing it here in the Elite program, but I'm also talking to attorneys in my area. I think that's comforting and helps a lot, just to banter ideas around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the power of community right now cannot be understated, both in the legal community amongst other lawyers, but also just in our actual communities within our respective markets. So I commend you guys for stepping up, and thank you for all these insights, and thank you for your willingness to do this. And most importantly, just thank you for putting out a good message, just being proactive and positive. And, I'm sure someone's watching. It's like easy for you to say, but
well, it's not easy. Believe me. I mean, my family's extended. I have a son in New York City who's now in Saratoga Springs, upstate New York. So it's, there's some comfort in keeping a routine and spend a little more time on the phone with folks on the other side of the case, asking them how they're doing. Yeah, this is a communal crisis, and the pain is real that we're all sharing. So, I'm just trying to keep my little piece of the pie going. So
awesome.
Thank you, Michael, for having me on.
Alan, thank you, sir.
All right. Take care, guys.